truth. We make sure our members, are getting the best information, and our listeners, like you. We make that information available to you and make it simple and understandable.
Good investing means understanding how the stock market works. Join today at philsgang.com.
The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money's coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang, my podcast. And today we're going to talk about this market. What else, right? Let's think about it for a second. This market, 7 stocks have the total control of a stock market. 7. That's it, just 7. And what we're finding is that we have all of this money chasing just few stocks. That has to get dangerous at some point, don't you agree? I mean, think about it. It's getting crazy. And then the wealth from these 7 stocks, all the wealth coming from these 7 stocks, from the stock market, is not being shared, even though we're being told it is. Listen to this.
Wealth has just absolutely exploded over just since 2019. The wealth of all of the Americans has gone up in just 5 years by $52 trillion. That is a 44% increase in total wealth.
What a liar. Okay, let's tell the truth here. What's really going on? Who's getting all this wealth? Well, first of all, the stocks, it's all the stock buybacks that are creating the wealth. And it's the CEOs. They're the ones that are getting wealthy. And the largest shareholders of those companies, board of directors, people in Congress, they're getting enormously wealthy off these same 7 stocks. So if you take the top 1%, that's what we're talking about. If you take the top 1%, they get most of the money. That's where all the wealth is going. And the top 1% has seen their wealth soar by $42 trillion over the past 10 years. $42 trillion in 10 years. But it's the same 7 stocks. That's where the wealth is coming from. Now, that's 34 times more than bottom 50%. But this guy is telling us something totally different. He's lying. He's lying. So, here, we'll play it one more time. Let's see, I think we have it. Where is it? I think it stayed up, isn't it? Right here. Right?
Wealth has just absolutely exploded over just since 2019. The wealth of all of the Americans has gone up in just 5 years by 52.
See, that's all Americans. That's a bunch of BS. What are you, nuts? That's crazy. Are you crazy? It's not true. The average net worth of the 1% has increased $400,000 per person compared to the bottom half. Their wealth increased $335. Let me repeat that. He's saying everyone's wealth has increased. Well, first of all, that's not true. The 1% increased $400,000 per person. The bottom half, $335. Now let's talk about this top 1%. So if you look at the top, well, let's just go look at the top 10%. They have more money in stocks than ever before in history. And they've never been so exposed as they are now. More so than in 1922 and the dot-com crash combined. They're exposed because they're depending on increased money supply. Now, increased money supply causes havoc with inflation. It's the printing of money. So what's happening is Congress, Wall Street are saying, screw everybody except the 1%. We don't care about inflation. Let's keep doing stock buybacks with these same 7 stocks. And we just get more wealthy, the top 1%. So the forecast for the S&P, which has rallied 33% since April 8th, is that the S&P will now have further gains over the next 2 years. They don't feel that in the next 2 years that we're going to get a correction. It'll keep going up. Because why? I've said this over and over. We're going to have the biggest crash in history. Then I'll get all this hate mail. So listen to the rest of my statement before you send me the hate mail. We're going to have the biggest crash in history. It's going to be unbelievable. But they can put the crash off for as many years as they want. They control the crash with, again, the increased money supply, the printing of money. Now they say, well, the president doesn't control the increased money supply. He sure does, not directly, but his policies, tax cuts, everything. Of course he does, indirectly, but he controls it. And do you think the president, Trump, is going to let this market go down? He's so tied to the stock market. Remember his first term? Every day they kept saying, we're going to cut rates. Or no, we're going to do a tax cut. Market go up, market go up. I mean, that went on for almost a year. Market went up. Every time they said, well, he's ready to do the tax cut, ready to do the tax cut. He controls the market. And he loves the market. He ties his own well-being or how good he feels about himself about the stock market. The stock market's not going up and making new highs. He doesn't feel good. He doesn't feel like he's running the country well. So what can interrupt that market? What can interrupt it? Inflation. But they don't care about the inflation. They don't care. Rate cuts are inflationary. They don't care. We're at a point no one cares about anyone other than the 1%. Wall Street has gotten so greedy, so bad. So you got to get on that train. You got to continue to follow the money. Stop following the fundamentals. The fundamentals are stupid. Who cares about the fundamentals? You got to follow the money. And as long as money continues to go in and you know how to follow it, you're going to identify when the market's going to turn on you before it does. Every pro knows that. Every pro knows when the market's going to turn. You just have to look at the bond market, watch the gold market. Gold's a big thing. Watch the gold market. No pro ever says, oh my God, look at the market's down 2,000 points. What's going on? Are we in a crash? No. Every pro starts shorting the market prior to the event because they know how to sell short. But we've been taught by the gangsters on Wall Street, oh, don't short a stock. Don't ever short. You lose all your money shorting. No, you lose all your money if you don't short. And 401ks, let's talk about the poor people in 401ks. They are so screwed. They have no chance because they can't short. They can't short stocks. They're not allowed to short in their 401k. They make sure that you couldn't do that. And the people that are in 401ks, even when the market starts crashing and they call And they said, get me out, get me out. They can't get out. They can't get out like that, and all of a sudden, I mean, you just can't say, hey, get me out, and you're out in the next 10 minutes. Think about this. There's 70 million 401k people. 70 million. That's not many. Now, it sounds like it's a lot. It's actually more than half of U.S. households have essentially zero invested in the stock market. Remember that. Okay? Let me say it again. More than half of our households in this country, more than half, have no money in the stock market. No money in the stock market. In fact, the wealthiest 1% of households own over 85% of all corporate stock, and the top 1% alone, they own 50%. But the people in 401ks, most of them are pulling money out of those 401ks. You just don't, you can't win with a 401k. Your timing has to be perfect. You've got to cash in at a perfect time. Nobody gets to that perfect time. Look at every crash, the dot-com crash, the financial housing crash, 2018 crash, the COVID crash. Look how you got hit with your 401k. Look how you got hit. And because the economy is so bad, which they lie about and tell us the economy is wonderful, there's nothing wrong with the economy, it's strong, people have been yanking money out of that 401k to pay for essentials, pay for health care. So think about this. Why is it that gold, think about gold, why is it that gold is up, oh my God, what's it now, 92%, something crazy like that? Our gold stocks I'm talking about, we've been in those a long time. But think about this. How is it that Obama, when he took over in 2009, he was left with a financial crash? Remember that? Bush screwed up everything, okay? He screwed up everything. But yet, when he took over, the S&P went up immediately about 150%. So the S&P went up 150% when he took over an economy that was in a total mess, but yet it went up 150%. Biden broke our country with spending going wild on social programs, woke, also green energy programs. He broke us. Yet the market kept rallying up 105%. So think about that. So when Trump took over from Biden, the market rallied, even though it was broke. Just like the Obama, when Obama took over, and he took over the crash, the Bush financial crash, Trump takes over a terrible economy from Biden, but both Obama, stock market went up 150%, Trump's up 105%, when they're both in terrible shape. The economy, the market. Why? Well, because, again, of stock buybacks. Stock buybacks. So Obama, the S&P went up 150%, and the reason, because of money supply. You see, as long as you can keep increasing money supply, the market's going to go up. So Obama's S&P went up 150%, and the reason is because the money supply increased by 75% to push the market up 150%. So we got to be very careful here. The stock market can keep going up. I've been saying that for the last couple of months now. I've been saying people think this market's going to, everybody's scared about crashes now. Nobody would talk about a crash. You'd get stoned to death if you talked about a crash. Now people are talking about crashes. But here's what they don't understand. We're not going to get a crash as long as they can keep increasing the money supply and they don't care about the inflation. As long as they can keep getting away and saying how wonderful the economy is, how strong it is, and how many jobs we have, and Earth is beautiful, as long as they can get away with that, they'll keep doing what they've been doing, increasing the money supply to do stock buybacks. So Obama's S&P went up 150% because they increased the money supply by 75%. Biden, remember Biden with that woke policies and the green energy, and I mean, what a mess that was. But the market went up 105% because he increased the money supply by 46%. You see how this market's working? And Trump, in 8 months, remember, the market, the S&P went up 75%. 75%. Why? Because he increased the money supply by $2 trillion. So the key is, as long as they keep increasing the money supply, it doesn't matter the shape of the economy. As long as you stake the 7 tech stocks, all this AI crap, and you keep buying those same stocks. But the key is, you've got to learn how to follow the money. You can't just sit there blindly and let the market go up, and you sit there, you don't know what's going on, but every day you look at, you get a statement in the mail, you just throw it in the drawer. You got to be prepared. One day it's not going to work. We can help you with that. I'll be right back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're fighting against childhood cancer every day. At the heart of this battle are our donors.
Most of us want to make some type of difference in the lives of others. St. Jude does miraculous work.
The fact that no one has to pay, it's a place where everyone is treated as an equal.
Everybody is welcome here, and it doesn't matter your religion or what part of the world you're from, all that is taken away. It just gives you some hope.
It's just a nice feeling to put your energy into something that really does genuinely make a difference in a child's life.
There's just no greater gift. If we have the ability to help, then we have a responsibility to help.
Finding cures, saving children. St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Find out how you can help at stjude.org.
If you want to invest your money and grow your wealth, listen to this.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know, I get so tired of listening to the same garbage every day, listening to the fake business news network telling you why you should buy this stock, why you should buy, and they're always wrong. Join my gang, philsgang.com, free for 10 days. You're going to learn when to buy a stock and when not to buy a stock. Hey, years ago it was different. You could buy a stock based on fundamentals. You could buy a stock based on earnings. You could buy a stock based on PE ratios. Those days are gone. That ended with QE. That ended when they financially engineered the market in 2008. Gone. Now you got to follow the money. And we have the knowledge because we have the chart. Pro 2 color-coded chart tells you when to buy, when to sell, when to run like hell.
For a limited time, you can join Phil's Gang free for 10 days.
Check it out, philsgang.com. Get the truth, get the knowledge, and understand how the market really works.
Welcome back. Are you ready to make profits in the stock market? Why not check out philsgang.com or give us a call, 877-600-4264. Now, here's Phil.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Join my gang, philsgang.com, free for 10 days. Okay, we've been, since 1998, we've been teaching retail investors just like you, okay? And again, we really focus on the retail investor who needs help. Right now, most retail investors don't think they need any help because they get their mail and they look at the 401k, they throw it in the drawer and they think, well, I'm just going to be rich because I'm in NVIDIA. But the same thing happened, remember, in the dot-com days. Now look, if this market can go up for another 2 years before we have a correction, because it's all about increased money supply. But you got to watch gold because gold's going to tell you when the market's going to collapse, just like the bond market. You got to watch. If you watch gold and you watch the bond market, you're going to know well in advance the market's going to correct. So then you can prepare to sell it short, and we'll show you how to do that. But nobody wants to learn how to sell short. They just think the market's going to go up forever. So let's think about this for a moment. So Obama, as I said, the S&P went up 150%. And the reason, because he increased the money supply by 75%. So if you increase the money supply by 75%, that means the market will go up 150%. It's all fake. It's not earnings, okay? Now, at the same time, gold increased 659%. What does that mean? Gold is telling you there is a cancer in the stock market. There's a cancer in the economy. When gold goes up, that's why you got to remember, the Federal Reserve hates watching gold go up. They'll do anything to destroy gold. They'll do anything to press it down. Because when gold goes up, that means UK, Japan, China, they want more interest when they loan us money. When we buy all their crap, they send their crap here, we buy it, we give them dollars, and then they used to buy treasuries from us, right? So we could borrow money from them, but now they're all buying gold. Gold's unbelievable, the amount of gold they're buying, especially all these central banks. But anyways, let's get back to this. So think about this. You increase the money supply by 75%, your stock market goes up 150%. Nothing can stop it. But gold's up 659%, saying, hey, wait a minute, hold on, someone listen to me. Someone listen to me. There's a problem. There's a problem in the economy. There's a problem in the stock market. Hold on here. Nobody cares. Biden, he destroys the economy, spending going wild. All this money is spending on woke and woke and woke and green and green. He destroyed our economy. Yet, to get the market up, all they had to do is increase the money supply by 46% to run the market up 105%. And of course, he faked 1.1 million jobs that he never created. But gold, even then said, gold went up 152%. So under Obama, it went up 659%, telling you, boy, something's really wrong here. And then under Biden, gold went up 152%, when the market went up 46%, warning them. And then Trump, in 8 months, this is amazing, and Trump in 8 months, the money supply increased $2 trillion, went up about 5%. He increased the money supply by 5% to push the S&P up 76%. Does anybody understand what's going on here? This is nuts. But this is the easiest money you will ever make, because you got to learn how to follow the money. Don't follow the fundamentals. You'll get killed. Follow the money, and as long as we keep getting increased money supply, keep watching gold. Gold will warn you something is wrong. There's a tripwire here somewhere, and then you're in your bond market, and all of a sudden you start seeing rising yields. That implies a correction. So you're never surprised. Professionals are never surprised by a correction, never. So now let's go. Now when Trump took over, he only increased the money supply by 5%, but it went up 76%. In spite of the fact that we have a disaster from Biden. We had open borders. He was able to mask the jobs that Americans were losing because all the illegals came over and took their jobs. He masked it by faking out, not him, he didn't know what he was doing, but the people around him created 1.1 million fake jobs. So we ended up with 1.1 million fake jobs. Construction spending is falling off a cliff. Manufacturing jobs are just horrible. They're tanking. Manufacturing in February alone of 2023 lost 178,000. That was below the now we're below the pre-pandemic levels that we had in 2018. Now, the last 4 consecutive months, manufacturing jobs, let's get to this was current. The last 4 consecutive months, manufacturing jobs fell from 42,000 to 12,000. That's the lowest since 2022. Trucking, heavy trucking. We talked about this yesterday. Sales are collapsing. But yet we got our deficits going up, our national debt going up, but no one cares as long as we keep increasing the money supply. So gold, remember, like bonds, are our indicator, because gold's a safe haven. For the first time in 30 years, central banks hold more gold than the U.S. Treasury. 36 tons. What are you, nuts? They know something's going on. Why do they own all this gold? Why is it that Japan and China are telling Powell to stick it up his butt When Powell calls, hey, we're out of money over here in the United States. Can we borrow some money? We'll give you a note. We'll give you a treasury. They say, no, screw you. We're taking all that money, all the dollars we get from you by selling our crap to you. We're taking all those dollars and we're buying gold. Now think about the gold they're buying, 36 tons. You know how much gold that is? So does that mean that something's wrong? Of course it does. But does it matter? No. We got so many red flags and buzzers going off telling us there's something wrong with the economy, there's something wrong with the market. But if you only knew how to follow the money instead of the BS, you won't get caught. Instead, you'll be in time to make money on the way back down. The turmoil in the Middle East, think about this. That turmoil that we had in the Middle East and Ukraine, that's one of the things why they bought a lot of gold, because of the uncertainty. And of course, they see America, we're so far in debt that they don't see how we can get out of our debt. So they're not even asking for high interest rates anymore to loan us money. They're just going straight to gold. So 36 tons since the turmoil in the Middle East and Ukraine started. The central banks, including China, has purchased $80 billion worth of gold since 2022. What are you, nuts? Another $96 billion in 2024, and they just bought more gold. Just bought more gold last, I think it was 4 months ago, I think it was. But according to World Council on Global Central Banks bought 1,082 tons of gold in 2022, 1,037 tons in 2023, a record 1.18 tons in 2024, and they're buying gold like crazy now. Why do you think they're buying gold? You think they're going to be listening to these people who are telling us this kind of crap, that how...
In our summary of economic projections, the median participant projects GDP to rise 1.6% this year and 1.8%.
Now, do you think they believe him? When they buy this amount of gold, they don't believe him. Or this guy here.
Companies are strong.
Companies are strong. Yeah, they're really strong. Listen to this dope.
Companies are strong. Lowering rates is only going to strengthen them.
Yep, lower those rates. Yep, I'm going to strengthen them. Lower them rates. That's the key. Lower them rates. They're going to be really strong. Screw looking at all these gold purchases. So let me ask you, is it better? You think it's wiser to listen to the chipmunk here?
Companies are strong.
Give me more nuts. I need some more nuts. I need more nuts. Unbelievable. Or do you think you should follow gold? You think you should follow the bond market? When you see the bond market, you see yields rising, which is interest rates rising, it implies a correction. When you see gold being purchased like this, like never before in our history, this kind of gold, they're telling you, stay in the stock market if you know what you're doing, if you know how to follow the money. The key is following the money. The key is getting ready for the crash or even a small correction. And anyone who learns how to sell short and understand the bond market, understand the gold market, you're not going to be surprised. You're not going to be surprised. So, our economy is not stable. When they tell you it is, just remember the amount of gold they're buying. If you think, why? They're telling us how our economy is stable, right? But it's not. They have no concerns about inflation. They say, well, that's under control. That's a bull-faced lie. We have all kinds of political turmoil. Just think of the geopolitical tensions in the Middle East. Then you got Ukraine, you got Russia. Why do you think they're... Then they just keep buying more gold. So again, when Trump took office 8 months ago, remember what he took over? 1.1 million fake jobs, manufacturing, construction, historic delinquencies on automobiles and mortgages, but yet the stock market keeps going up. So too business bankruptcies. That's the other thing. They keep telling us how great the economy is, how strong the consumer is, yet business bankruptcies are up 40% because the consumer can't spend. He's tapped out. He doesn't have any more credit cards. And the personal bankruptcies are up 20%. But people believe it. All they have to see is the market go up and they get greedy and they jump in, which is fine. Follow the money. But put up your safety net. Learn how to put stops in. Stops will always protect you. Learn how to take profits. As your markets rally, you got to start taking profits. Learn how to do that. It's not hard. Learn your signals on when to buy, when to sell. There's only about 5-6 signals. That's right. Do you know that? There's only about 5 to 6 signals in the stock market, important signals to tell you when to buy and when to sell. Not that many. Not that many. So it's not hard to learn. So now as of today, we have the market has a real problem, okay? Because right now what's going on, everyone is convinced that the stock market, let me just show you something right here. Look at this here. I hope you can see this. This shows you right here, when Obama got into office right here, okay, that's when he got in office, 2009. Until he got out in 2017. The economy was just a total mess. But between here and here, he was able to push the stock market up 150% between here and here. Okay, 150%. And the money supply to do that, he made sure it increased by 75% to push the market up. Remember, the market's not going up based on earnings. The market's not going up based on profits or increased margins, or increased sales. No. It's now going up since 2009 to 2025 on increased money supply, 75%. But gold, right here, look at it, went up 659% because people knew what the game was. They understood the game. They understood what they were doing. And that's why they started buying gold. And I'm talking about Europeans. I'm talking about the central banks. They know what's going on. We have no good economic news. Where's the economic news any good? There's no economic news. But you can make a ton of money in this market as long as they keep, again. Now take a look at this. Let me get the right date. Now if you take Biden from 2020 to 2025, right here, look at 2020, 2025, Biden was able to push the stock market up 105% as long as he could, again, increase the money supply, which he increased by 46%. So see how it works? All you got to do is not earnings, has nothing to do with earnings anymore. How much can I push up the stock market by increasing the money supply? By 75%. Well, sir, it'll go up 150%. Okay, what if I push it up? The Biden says, what if I push it up by 46%? Well, sir, you can push the stock market up 105%. Okay, Mr. Trump, how much do you want to push the market up? Oh, gee, I want to push it up big. I want to push it up 76% in the first 6 months. No problem. All you have to do is increase the money supply by 5%. As long as they keep doing that, you can make a ton of money. But prepare yourself for the day. That's not going to happen anymore. Join my gang, philsgang.com. See you on the charts.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me.